Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Rich Black Doc podcast. I am your host, Dr. Claudia Pascal, and I hope you all have been well. I have been encountering so many amazing guests who have amazing stories to share to empower each of you on your personal journeys to your financial freedom for the sake of being able to serve on your own terms, create a powerful legacy, and enjoy a fulfilling life. If that is what you are looking for and this is your first time, I want to welcome you and tell you you are in the right place. And if you are a faithful listener, hey, and welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. And we are in for another amazing treat. I'm so excited for our guest today because she's someone who I bumped into a while back as I was ramping up my journey of just talking more about financial freedom on social media. And I was like, oh my goodness, I have to connect with her for so many reasons because she's not only passionate about financial freedom and a dentist, but she's also Haitian. And if you don't know, I'm Haitian and I love my Haitian culture, my Haitian people. I love it. And so the fact that there's so few of us Black docs and there's so few of us Black dentists, Black female dentists, and to find another Haitian, I just was like so excited and so like inspired to see her and all of her accomplishments. So I'm so excited to bring her on, and I'm going to go ahead and bring on our amazing guest, Dr. Clerisme, and I'm going to let her tell us more about herself, and we're going to jump into this amazing conversation. So without further ado, Dr. Caroline, come on in. How you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I was smiling the whole time. I'm like,
yes.
Really, I'm really honored and humbled to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so glad you could be here. I really appreciate you. And, it's such a blessing. I know I said this, before the recording, but I do want to say it publicly again that I really appreciate you because, you would reach out to me occasionally and be checking in on me. And that really makes a big difference in this world in general, like having someone who checks on you and sees like how you're doing as a young dentist, as a young woman, and just as a human in general, because life is real. And, I've been having my own little challenges, and we connected like before things even changed for me with the endometriosis and everything. And you still will like pop in. And so I just want to publicly say I appreciate you and just throw it out there for any doc. If you're one to naturally like reach out to someone or you think about it, do it because it really is worth it. You never know. I know it's hard sometimes, like we feel like weird or like, man, what if the person looks at me crazy, think I'm being like, too friendly or something. But let me tell you, sometimes just seeing that message of care or concern, even if, the response is not as like excited and bubbly, like it may make a significant difference for the person, because that is how I have felt sometimes. And, I really appreciate you, Dr. Clerisme, for like reaching out to me. Like I said, I would not always have the energy to respond and share like how I really feel about your messages, but let me tell you, it goes down to like the depths of my heart, because it makes a difference to know like I'm not alone and there's someone who is like reaching out to me and I'm not even having to reach out to the person, even though I know I need to work on reaching out to people too. But thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for publicly saying that. Really, you're welcome. Yeah. So welcome.
Absolutely. So please go ahead and introduce yourself. We already know you are this amazing, caring, nurturing, like Haitian queen, but tell us some more about you and just your journey, your life, just everything.
Good. So yes, I'm Caroline Clerisme. I am a general dentist in New Hampshire. And like Dr. Claudia was saying, I'm from Haiti and I'm in New Hampshire where it's freezing cold. But anyway, right. Make it make sense, right? But anyway, I'm also a wife, a mother to a toddler. I'm an investor. I'm a the co-author of the amazing financial literacy book for children, Lily and the Talking Piggy Bank. Let's learn about money. And I'm also the founder and CEO of Doctors Out of Debt, which is a company where we help doctors. And when I say doctors, I mean physicians, dentists, pharmacists, vets. We help them to create generational wealth, and get out of debt at the same time. So in a
Nice.
nutshell, this is what I'm about.
Yes, yes. And that is like literally what the goal is here for Black Doc, is to like attract those individuals who are like, look, I'm ready to start. Like, I don't want to just be living. I just want to start intentionally creating the wealth and not letting the debt hold me back. So I love that you do both, you know, because some people, they're heavy on like the debt first. And I'm sure we're going to talk about that. Like, what's your strategy? What's your approach, your mindset? But I love that you're like, hey, one doesn't have to wait for the other. So that's amazing. And congrats on your book.
Thank
That's like
you.
amazing. Oh,
Thank you so
wow.
much.
Yes. I don't have kids, but I have nieces and nephews. And so I'm definitely have to be like, look, check this book out, okay? Like,
Thank you so much. So yeah,
like,
I mean, so my best friend, so I co-authored it with my best friend Alicia Burge, and
nice.
so I've been coaching doctors as far as how to really have financial freedom, how to create their wealth, and get out of debt at the same time. And one day I was like, you know what? If they knew those things as a kid, as a child, the frustration would be a little bit less. So I'm like,
Yes.
how about we just start educating our youth? We just start having parents be able to openly talk about money.
Yeah.
So that's how Lily and the Talking Piggy Bank lesson about money was born. Where parents can just talk openly about their kids, and then kids get a little bit more excited to talk about money. They're like saving money now. They have their piggy banks. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. And you bring up about a point that is so real. And I feel like even like I hear it a lot too, like, the Bible talks about it, and even other individuals talk about how it's so much easier to like get a child, like when you get them while they're younger, it's easier to put them in a certain direction. But when someone's already grown and old and set in their ways, sometimes it's hard. And that's why, like, for me too, like, I'm just like, look, like, let's start sooner than later. Like, hey, if you're still in school, like, listen to these things, think about these things, so you can already start strategizing. So when you do get out and you start working, you can start taking those steps and not wait until years later and be like, oh, what should I do now? And then be tempted to say, oh, it's okay, I've been making it, I'll continue to make it. Because truth be told, there's so many people that I talk to, and for some reason, sometimes it just, the fire isn't there. Like, they don't see the importance of like really like thinking intentionally about what they should be doing. There's kind of this sense of like being comfortable with like, hey, I'm making the money, I'm living a decent life, and I'll be okay. But it's like, will we really be okay? Like, can we not be better? Like, what's wrong with having more?
Yes.
So yeah, so let's get into like, what led you to like say like, man, like I need to start creating wealth. I mean, we all know we want to get out of debt, but what made you say, okay, I want to start creating wealth? And how did you begin doing that along with still adjusting the debt component?
So a little background is I graduated from dental school from Tufts in 2011, and I had a total of about $250,000. And I must say, being from Haiti and growing up in the 80s, early 80s, even early 90s, we didn't have credit cards. Student loans were not a thing. So I'm like, how am I going to do with all that money? How am I ever going to pay that off? So that definitely brought a lot of frustration, confusion. So it's definitely hard at first. But I kept remembering that what my parents instilled in me, to try and not owe people a bunch of money and to always have more than one income. So both of my parents, they never had one income. They always had multiple streams of income. So for example, my mom, she's a physician. She had her private practice. She was working for the government. And then she was working for another private company, So she had like at least 3 jobs. She probably had something else, but I just remember she had at least 3 jobs.
Yeah.
So, and I just kept that with me. But at the same time, and of course, I used that as far as debt repayment. But at the same time, one time I realized that it's only one Dr. Caroline Clerisme. I can only pull so many teeth, do so many root canals. I need to figure out how to have passive income, not just a bunch of active income, but how to have active income. And that's when the journey really started to really realize how I can have multiple streams of income that include passive income, where
Mhm.
I'm not in patients' mouths and I'm still
Mhm.
making money that I
Mhm.
can give to my daughter and pretty much to my great granddaughter, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So really to create the generational wealth. So that's how really it started,
Wow.
with a lot of frustration, having a lot of debt, knowing nothing about credit.
Mhm.
In Haiti, we don't have credit score. I'm
Yes.
like, wait, what? So I had to learn all those things, pretty much in college, that's when I really started learning about credit, credit cards, and yeah. So pretty much that's how I started, with a lot of debt, trying to figure out how to pay it back quickly and
Mhm.
be able to have multiple streams of income to be
Mhm.
able to retire early and
Mhm.
really enjoy life and practice when I want to.
Yes, yes. No, I love that. I love that. And I feel like you also are going to be an encouragement for a lot of individuals that we have that are foreigners, right? Because we do have a lot of like doctors who are from other countries. And so navigating a whole new country and getting a career in a country, some people already were trained in their countries and now they're coming here to train in this system. And sometimes adding the whole finance component, it's like, all right, listen, man, I made it this far. I survived. Don't give me another like load to take on, but it can be overwhelming. I get it. Just even us who are in the US, it's daunting to talk about finance, but you tackled it as a foreigner. And so kudos to you and your mom for like having that, showing that example. Like that's amazing too. So you're in essence continue on with what you saw, what was instilled within you. And just having that simple, that even in of itself, like even if that was all someone did was just to say, I have different sources of income, even if you're not aggressively investing, that alone is a significant move because you're setting yourself up to not have to rely on one income. You're setting yourself up that if you lose one way of earning, you have other ways, and that's really what financial freedom is about. Like financial freedom is different for all of us. And, for me, I say, look, pursue financial independence at the least. Like, even if you don't want financial abundance and all of that, at the least, aim to get to the point where you can say, I'm financially independent, where I don't have to work for money because you have it coming from other places. But at the end of the day, financial freedom really comes down to the point where it's like, do you have to keep working to earn money, or are you finding other ways to make money work for you? Are you finding other ways to bring in income so that it doesn't all hang upon you and it doesn't all hang upon one source? So I think that is remarkable. And I would love to know, like, what are some of the things that you found the most challenging, like being a foreigner? What's one thing you found most challenging? And what's one way you decided to like tackle it, to not get overwhelmed and give up, but still take those steps to like pursue your goal?
So I must say, I realized that I don't have a choice. And I must say, let's go back to 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not sure if all dental schools do that, but
Mm-hmm.
for my dental schools, we had to meet with a financial advisor for what they call executive counseling. So we meet with them, and then they go over our student loans to make sure
Mm-hmm.
you understand that we have a schedule, blah, blah, blah. And it's funny, that happened like probably 10, 11 years ago, and I still remember it vividly. Tufts
That's
had
good.
gone through a gorgeous, gorgeous vertical expansion, like a bunch of money, gorgeous, gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had renovating the whole, they had added like a bunch of floors, gorgeous expansion. So I remember
Mm-hmm.
I got in the elevator, everything was brand new. And then I remember, and I was all proud because, it's like, was it February, maybe 2011, like almost graduation time. I'm like all proud. People are going to be calling me doctor. And I'm like walking down the hall, and it was like everything's shiny and clean. And I
Uh-huh.
remember I went to the office of the financial advisor, and she's
Uh-huh.
showing me my loan. I'm like, yeah, those are my numbers. It's cool. I
Uh-huh.
understand. Yeah. And then I remember she showed me $520,000, which is how much I would end up paying if I were to take 25 years to pay off my debt. That's when
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, literally, she probably gave me some good financial advice, but I literally don't remember anything after I saw that number.
What
I'm like,
day you
I need to
remember?
get to, I need to figure this out. But
Wow.
really, it was really frustrating because, and to add to all this quote unquote mess, I ended
Mm-hmm.
up taking a job making less than 6 figures. So make it make sense, you know? But again, that's really, really pushed me to, you know, go against whatever obstacles, because I had a mentor saying like, you're gonna have to change your accent. Patients are not gonna be able to understand you. I didn't care. I just kept talking. One patient complained to one of my employers about my hair because I had twists. Saying like, why would you send a doctor to do my exam with twists?
What?
Yes. So stuff like that. But I didn't care. I just kept working, trying to figure out how am I gonna live that mess behind. How am I really gonna have financial freedom so I can really practice on my own terms, how I want to, when I want to. So there were definitely obstacles in weird situations. And I had many, many jobs in dentistry because I really wanted to try different industries to really see what I liked. I went from health center to private practice. I did quote unquote what they call Medicaid meals. I did corporations, mobile dentistry, academia. Like I did it all pretty much. I think the only thing I didn't work was work out of jail. Really, I did it all, really. And it's been great, you know, because you just have to persevere. You have to remember where you came from, you know. I keep remembering what my parents instilled in me as far as money. Principles, you know, to try not to owe people a bunch of money and have multiple streams of income. And I just remember, I don't want to go back to, or should I say, I don't want to keep having a negative net worth. I just have to keep going. There was no way around it. I just have to keep going. And sometimes we think that we have time. Oh, I have time to invest. I have time to pay off the debt. No, before you know it, it's like 5, 10, 15, 20 years and you're still in debt. So for me, I just wanted to, I don't want to say take the fast road, but I just wanted to get out of it the quickest and pretty much be financial free as fast as possible.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, no, it makes sense. And you know, like one of the things I kind of hear you mentioning is like thinking about where you've come from and know that you like have to keep going because, you know, for those of us who feel like, man, my journey, like to even become a doctor, to get to this career that I've worked so hard for, that was hard in and of itself. And it seems like a whole nother daunting journey to try to say, let me start pursuing financial freedom. And I think that if we do think about that same mindset, like, look, we made it this far. Like, we were able to earn careers. Like, you came from a whole nother country, learned a whole new culture, and earned your career, like earn your degree to get to your career. And so if you had the resilience, if you had the brilliance, if you had the grit to like get through that, that means you can get through this journey of personal financial freedom as well. So like flipping it and thinking of it that way shows like you got this, like you can do it. So it may be harder, it may be challenging. Yes, you may have to learn new things, but it's not like you haven't done it before. You did it before. And if you add this as a part of continuing to, you know, fulfill your goals and optimize, you know, what you're trying to achieve, then now you realize, okay, I'm just moving on to the next thing. So I got the career. Now let me make my life with this career even better by like continuing on using the things that got me to this career to get to the status where I can live as I want and enjoy my career and enjoy my life and truly make an even greater impact. So I love it because, yeah, it's like, what could stop you if you did all that? Literally, like, that's so good. And I'm so happy you did not let that bother you, like the whole hair and the accent, you know. It's sad in 2022, we still have to deal with those things, you know, but
that's what we have. The mentor who told me to change she told me to change my accent because patients wouldn't understand me. She's a Black woman, a Black dentist. And the patient who complained about my hair was a Black patient. You know? So exactly. You know? Wow. Yeah, so yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's so sad.
Keep going.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's literally. So let's talk about
moving on. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about you getting to this freedom. So, how did you begin? Like, what was the first investment, or what was the first step you took to saying, okay, I'm not trying to be stuck paying debt forever, and I'm not trying to be stuck having to keep working to make money forever. So, what was the first investment or move that you made to launch off that journey?
So the first thing was to realize where I am now.
Mhm.
Okay. And a
Mhm.
lot of people, we get paid and we spend the money. You
Mhm.
need to realize where you are right now and write it down. And I
Mhm.
say when you are now, meaning your numbers, how much money you're making every single month, and write it down. How much
Mhm.
money is going out every single month, write it down. So I had to start with that, with all those things. And then
Yeah.
my goals. And of course, all of us, we might say, like, I want financial freedom, but that's a little bit vague. You
Mhm.
have to be very specific. Do I
Mhm.
want $1,000 a month in passive income? Do I want $20,000 a month in passive income? Do I
Mhm.
want to work 3 days in dentistry? What do I want? So I had to be specific and write those things down. And
Yes.
not just for money, but several areas of my life. What do I want as a family? For
Mhm.
fun, do I want to go to Jamaica this year? Do I want to go to Antigua? Whatever it is, write it down.
Yes.
As far as spirituality, do you want a closer relationship with God? Write those things down. So
Yeah.
pretty much I had to realize where I am now
Yeah.
and where do I want to go.
Mhm.
There's the power, really, there's really, I'd say, power in writing stuff down. Write
Mhm.
down your goals, be specific, and
Mhm.
have a deadline associated with that. So
Mhm.
it would be as specific as I would put like $30,000. That's how much I wanted to pay towards in the fourth quarter of
Mhm.
December 12th. Like I would put like December 12th, 2012. This is how much I'm gonna be paying afterwards my student loans, and I would literally write it down. I
Mhm.
had no idea where I was gonna get $30,000, but I wrote it down.
Yeah.
You have to write stuff down. And again,
Yeah.
the biggest thing is realize where you are now. If
Yeah.
you don't know what your numbers are now, you're not gonna be able to change
Mhm.
your numbers.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
sometimes we like, I know I'm in debt. Like I don't need to be more depressed. I know I'm in debt. Why do I have to write it down?
Yeah.
It's really gonna give you guidance as far
Yes.
as really what to invest in an event.
Yes.
Because at some point I realized that what? Real estate is what's really gonna take me from the negative net worth to the seven-figure portfolio. That's where I
Mhm.
realized. And that's again with the power of writing stuff down, you realize stuff like that. What avenue is gonna get you to that goal quicker. I
Mhm.
realized that real estate investing is gonna give me cash flow that I need. So I
Mhm.
focus on that. And of course, I do the stock market, and I have a bunch of brokerage accounts. I invest in businesses. But
Mhm.
real estate was the first thing that got
Mhm.
into my seven-figure portfolio.
That is really good. I love that. Yeah. I think that is really powerful and very true. Because we do sometimes think it's like we miss those simple steps that make a powerful difference. We kind of want to jump in, but we don't see the value of really taking the time to do something as simple as, like you said, writing it out. And like what you said is also very true, because now you are seeing everything as a whole. It's like you see the full big picture. Now
Yes.
you can hone in and identify, okay, what are the more specific strategic steps? Because for me, that's what it's all about. Like, yes, someone can successfully get there, but how can we strategically get there as well? Because you may be doing something that's going to get you there in like 7 years. But if you just took the time to write it down, think of the whole big picture, look at all your options, you might realize, like, oh, if I did this instead and that, I can get here in 4 years or 3 years.
Yes.
And so it all starts with writing it down, identifying where you want to be and where you are now, to identify, okay, how can I strategically get there? Because it's like, why, like we talk about how so many people are apprehensive about starting because it's daunting. But one of the ways to eliminate the overwhelm is by making those little steps.
Mhm.
That's the part of being intentional. Like
Yes.
taking that little effort is what's going to make it seem like, oh man, I can do this. And this is
Yes.
how I can do it. So that is so good. And yep, real estate, like it has come up on so many of the episodes that I've done. I mean, it's how my husband and I got into it, when once again, he was sitting down and like thinking about like, our vision and trying to see, okay, what's the best way for us to go about it. And so he knows how to sell stuff. Like he was doing Cutco in high school. Like he was doing a whole bunch of other stuff during dental school. But when he really sat down and thought about, okay, what do we really want to do and what's going to be the best way to do it while I'm in residency and you're just starting out as a new doc, you know, and that's going to allow us to still be able to start making that income, real estate. You know, so here's how we're going to do it. And this is the way we can strategically get into real estate is through house hacking. But it has to start with making that small step of writing out where we want to be and where are we? What are we working with now? So that it really, really does help. And I hope that anyone who hasn't started yet will make note of that. Is if you do anything like, hey, before the end of this year, you want to start personal financial freedom, that's the first and biggest, most important step. Start writing it out, you know.
And I must say, yes, and writing stuff down is what really helped me, like you said, help me see the bigger picture. And really that's what helped me to really, really realize how I can pay $250,000 in student loans in 4 years. My plan was 10 years. 10 years. I was like, in 10 years, I think I can pay this off. And then after that, after thinking about it, I was like, maybe 7 years. And then I was like, you know what? Let me write it down and figure this out. So when I really realized that, and with the negativity that was going on at work, I was like, no, we got to speed this up. No. You know, so $250,000, they were like gone in 4 years. Just gone.
4 years?
4 years. And then during that time, I was investing at the same time. I wasn't investing aggressively, but I was investing at the same time. And now I would say 90% of my income goes towards investing, and we just live off my husband's income. That's what we do. And
wow. That is
so I consider myself an investor, really, because a lot of my income just goes towards investing.
Yeah. No, that's so powerful. That's so good because
write it down.
Yes, no, that's true. That is so true. And I love that the 4 years. I'm sure somebody like, wait a minute, 4 years? Like what?
It's possible. It's possible. And back then I was single. I had no children. So it was just me.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, wait. So let's backtrack because this is something that I also get apprehension about, you know. So sometimes I'll talk to some of my friends and they're like, Claudia, you had Jeff, like y'all started this together and, you know, they're not married yet and they're not, you know, they don't have a committed partner. So they let that sometimes like cause them to feel intimidated, like that, oh, this is going to be hard or not achievable. So can you backtrack a little bit and give us the timeline of like, because you said you started this single, you didn't have your husband yet. So
I married quote unquote late.
So when did your husband come in along your financial freedom journey? So you said 2011 is when you graduated from dental school.
I was done with my student loans.
You said what?
I mean, we were dating, you know. So it was a long distance relationship as well. We were talking, you know, all those things. But I started way before him. Actually, I helped him have financial freedom as well. I was like, you know what? This is what I've been doing. This has increased my credit score. Do this, do that. And he's like, okay.
Wow.
We got married debt free. We paid for our wedding cash. Like it was the best thing ever. Really.
Wow.
But again, you can do it alone. You can do it as if you're single. You just have to write it down and have strategies and never ever rely on one income. Okay. And I'm sure, you know, as dentists, sometimes our income is not the fattest, you know. You know, so it's very important to not just have that one income, but have multiple streams of income. You can maybe try to quote unquote hustle and have a weekend job and stuff like that. Or there's some loan repayment options. Because for me, when I was getting out of that, for the first 2 to 3 years, I had about 3 to 4 jobs. Okay. And then after that, I was like, okay, we're going to look at some passive income because this is getting a bit much, you know? Because one time I went to an interview, they're like, are you Jamaican? And I didn't even know what he meant by that. But having multiple jobs at once, I was like, what does that mean? I didn't get that joke. But apparently, what does he mean? But I guess I had to really figure out how to just have more passive income than multiple active income, because that can cause burnout too, and we don't want that.
Mm.
And to
Mm.
anyone who's listening who thinks like I was married, then I was not. I was single, no children. And I remember I started with her salary making less than 6 figures.
Wow.
It's possible. It's possible.
So what year did you get married?
2017.
Wow. So 6 whole years of it just being you and your income, you not relying on somebody else's income, and you are still making progress in your financial freedom journey.
And it's the best thing ever. And again, I think early on, I started talking money to my well, he was my even my boyfriend at the time. We would talk openly about money, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like some people sometimes they're scared to talk about money.
Yeah.
No, talk about it openly.
Yeah.
And that's when we even decided like we're gonna use my salary as to invest, and then we're gonna live upon under just his income, you know. Because sometimes what happens is that when you get married, you combine your finances, and then you buy the big house, the big $1 million house, the dream house, the big cars, you know, the dream cars, whatever it is, the designer, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's okay to do that. But what happens if something happens to one spouse?
Yep.
You know? So it's very, so to me, I didn't want that stress. I'm like, man, let's live off your income, and then we use my income to, so pretty much I call his income the present, and then mine is the future. That's
nice. I love it.
So yeah, and it's been great, really. It's been great.
No, I love that. That's some good marriage tips. I mean, that's definitely something that my husband and I has been trying to do too. And that's part of like why it was also like so hard for us, because I mean, granted for him, he is in residency. And so, I was the active earner. And so we had our rentals going, and the goal was to like be living off of mine, and in the residency income he was making, our goal was to like strategically keep using that. But then he got into the med school part, so no income coming in, it was just mine. But then things happened with my health, and then now I was not. Yes. So that was a huge stress. That was a huge burden. And so thankfully, because we already started doing things, it helped. But it just to show you the reality of what you mentioned, because the thing is, we often are not thinking about that, especially those of us who are too high income earners. Like both of us are high income earners in our relationships. Like if it's only one person who's the income earner or the high income earner, a couple may already be thinking about that. But when both of y'all bringing in good money, you really may not be thinking about what happens if you don't have the money. And it's really important to consider that. And once again, I just want to like applaud you, because like I said, you accomplished so much before you even got married. And I think that even for me, when everything happened, and especially when I was in this position where I was like, yo, I'm not able to be working again, this active income. My husband is in med school. Like, I really was thinking like, okay, Claudie, what would you do? Like, if you didn't have a husband? Because technically, yeah, you don't have a husband who's working and making money. So what would you do? Like, what would you do if you were single? Like, and I think that, it's something to also think about. Like, yeah, your husband may not be around forever either, Claudie. Like, think about that as well. So once again, another reason why thinking about financial freedom sooner than later is so important. And another reason why I want my ladies to also not let the lack of a partner stop you, because having a partner doesn't mean anything. Anything can happen to that partner. It's all about us realizing, look, this is the life we want. This is how we want to serve. This is the freedom and a peace of mind that we want. And at the end of the day, having that money and time freedom is what's going to be able to have us to do it. And making strategic moves now is what's going to allow us to get to that point. So I hope that this encouraged some ladies to be like, look, don't be waiting on no man. Like, keep going, secure that bag, sis, so that you don't depend on him. And like you said, talk openly, because I
Yeah.
think that that is so real as well. Like being on the same page financially to say, look, we're in this together. Like, even if the partner does not want to invest as much, like they need to respect and value your goals to invest, because it may impact your dynamics in one way or another. And you want to make sure that you're on the same page and that the compromise is where it needs to be, so that you both can be achieving your goals. Even if God forbid both of you don't want financial freedom as well, but make that clear, right? Because you don't want that to come in and now cause strain in the relationship and the marriage, you
No.
know, all those kind of things. So
And I have worked with a lot of clients, ones that are still married and struggling, and ones that are divorced now. And they just, when they look back, they're like, I just ignored the red flags. They didn't talk openly about money. And sometimes when you're in love, everything is pretty. You don't want to talk about, you don't want to have those difficult conversations about money. Talk
Yeah.
about money. Talk about having kids. Do you want kids? Do you not want to have kids? Talk
Yeah.
about those things. This it's so, so important.
Yeah.
And it just to avoid, drama, headaches, heartaches,
Yeah.
divorce, bankruptcies, to avoid all those things.
Yeah.
Talk openly. Do not be afraid. What are you afraid of? Talk about it. It's
Yeah.
and I always say two things that we will always have to deal with,
Yeah.
whether or not we want to realize that, is money and health. So talk about those things. Okay.
Yep. Yep. No, that's so true. So real. Man, it's a whole good conversation. We could like just keep going on this part. We could really keep going on this part. But man, that's so real. That's so good. So I love your perspective that you bring in, just showing the dynamics of like how it's possible, even if you're single, and the beauty of doing it as a team. Like when you do have a partner, here's the beauty of it. But even if you don't have a partner, you can still do it, And like you said, write it down, get the big picture, know where you want to go, and have more than one stream of income. I feel like that's what's echoing in your message. And I think that if someone just goes on those two principles alone, it really will make a big difference. It really will.
Yes.
Really will.
And one of my so I have a course where I teach doctors those things that we're talking about. And during the course, when she came in, she was a dentist. She was a specialist periodontist. She had that one income. And by the time she left the course, she had 4 streams of income.
Wow.
So we go to work. We go to work.
Wow. That is
and the course is 2 months.
Nice.
1, 2, 3, 4 streams of income,
Nice.
And just to show you like those things are possible, you just need pretty much the knowledge and apply. It's not just, and that's the thing. Sometimes people ask me, what book should I read? I'm like, and I can give you all the books to read. I even made a reel about it. And it's not just about reading the books, it's about applying the knowledge.
Yes.
Right? It's kind of like us going to dental school or medical school, and then we just don't use those. No, go ahead and practice, go ahead and apply whatever you had learned. So it's very important, not just accumulate all of the knowledge.
Yes.
Accumulate and apply.
Yes. Yes. No, that's so real. So true. That's powerful. So what do you feel like has been one of the most difficult aspects of navigating like your career and pursuing financial freedom? Like what has been, because you talked about you had multiple jobs, you started off tackling the debt, but as you look back, as you're at your journey so far and you see the progress you've made, has there been anything that you feel like was very difficult that, when it came to the journey?
I wouldn't say difficult. I just wish that I was, and I'm gonna quote one of my mentors. And I say mentors, quote unquote, because I've never met her. Like I've only met her on social media, on talking to her on Zoom and stuff.
Yeah.
I should have been, so she said, be bold and fearless. I should have been bold and fearless, asking people, how did you do that? So that's the only thing that I wish I had done. I was too probably shy or even embarrassed to ask for help, as far as how to get to financial freedom quickly. I had to figure it out on my own. I'm telling you, I'm from Haiti where we don't have credit, we don't have student loans. I had to figure this stuff out on my own. And I just wish, and sometimes I would ask people, gosh, how do they have those big houses? Like how? They would just be like, oh, they invested. I should have like invested in what? I just said like, oh, okay. You know, I should keep
Yeah.
thinking. When people give you like hints, ask, keep
Yeah.
digging until you
Yeah.
get what you want.
Yeah. 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 No, that's true. That makes sense. Is there any, so you already kind of talked about some of them, but is there any other significant mindset shifts that you feel like you had to make during this journey that you feel like was really a game changer for you as you progressed?
Really, the streams of income, realizing that you cannot have one stream of income, and to let go of any mindset of scarcity. And yeah, so I would say the scarcity mindset, and I need to have multiple streams of income and not just active income, because in my country, or I guess how my parents were, the way I saw them doing that was mostly with active income, but to have passive income where you're literally not working, actively working, but you're making money. That's the best thing ever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes sense. And are all of your passive income streams, are they all through real estate, or do you have other well, I know you mentioned talking about stocks and investing in other businesses. So can you tell us a little bit about that, especially like in your single days, like for us ladies who like how do we make this real? Like whether we got a boo or not, how do we start setting up our own game? Like what were some of those things that you did?
I started with the stock market, or I should say the financial market, because it's not just stocks. But so that's what I would recommend to the single ladies or any single person listening.
Or even if you're not single, because like for me, I'm like, hey, I love my husband, he's great, we work as a team, but I'm like, I still want to see what are things I can do for myself too, right? Like other ways. So yes, tell me.
But if I had to do it all over again, I would start with real estate, because you don't have to care or be worried about what Elon Musk or anybody's gonna say, and then the market is like, whoa, going up or down. You still get that cash flow from real estate.
So what were you doing in the stocks? Were you like doing options trading, or like how were you involved?
I was doing long-term trading, stocks, mutual funds, bonds, ETFs, all those things. And I had a brokerage account doing other stuff, and I had a financial advisor doing something for me as well. What else did I have? Some crypto as well, and that's pretty much it. And then businesses. I like investing in businesses, startup businesses too.
So that's like outside of the stock market. Like when you say business,
yes, outside. Yes, that's the thing. You want to diversify. You don't want to do just the stock market, or you don't want to just rely on that 401k. Or it's very important to have multiple streams of income. And I'm sure you always hear that millionaires have 7 to 8 streams of income. And this year, actually, last year is when I finally got the 7th stream of income. I was like, oh, so it's the best thing ever to have multiple streams of income.
You have 7 streams now?
Yes, it's a lot. But what I'm gonna say is don't go chasing for multiple streams of income if you're good at one thing. So, for example, I realized that I'm pretty good at investing in real estate. So my focus has been that. That's why I was able to get to the 7-figure portfolio. You know, one of my stream of income is dividend income, and meaning I get income from dividend stocks. That might take a little while to get to 7 figures, because again, market fluctuates. Another one is royalty income from having the book. It might take a little while to get to 7 figures from selling books, but real estate it was literally quickly to get to 7 figures. Okay. So it's good to have that option, to have multiple options, or to have multiple streams of income, literally streams of income. But don't go chasing to have to do this, to do that. No. If you're like, okay, you know what, I'm good at real estate, do that. If you're good at day trading, if you're good at flipping houses, do that. And something else to realize is that when we say real estate, or maybe when I say real estate investing, there are like multiple ways to have streams of income from real estate. I have at least 5 streams of income from real estate. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You can have properties, you can do crowdfunding, you can do syndication, you can do tax liens, you can do short-term rentals. There's so many ways to have. So don't just think, oh my gosh, I don't want to be a landlord.
Right.
There are other ways. You can go online and literally start investing in real estate. You can have REITs, So It's so many ways to have to
Yeah.
invest.
Yeah.
Same thing with the stock market. Don't be like, I don't know anything about stocks. You might have to hire a financial advisor.
Mm-hmm.
But some things I'm telling you, even though you might be like, okay, I want to hire a financial advisor, don't
Mm-hmm.
ever blindly give anybody your money like that
Mm-hmm.
without understanding what they're investing in. It's your money. You need to know what's going on. Okay.
Yes. Yes. No, and I was gonna ask you to talk about that too, because you mentioned financial advisor a few times, and I'm like, not everyone has a good experience with that, and not everyone approach, and part of it is because they didn't approach it in the right way. So I'm glad that you highlighted that, because that is something that really is important in that regard.
Yes. Do
So
your homework.
yeah.
Again, it's your money. Don't just be like, hey, um, or some doctors they would say, here's my money, invest it for me. Like I don't need to know what you're doing. No, you need to know it's your money. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. Even though I have a financial advisor,
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what she's doing, what she's investing in. We meet 4 times a year, sometimes even more. I can
Mm-hmm.
ask her questions, and she replies. And those are things that are important when you have a financial
Yeah.
advisor. Don't
Yeah.
just meet them once a year and that's it. No, meet them all at least quarterly
Right.
and tell them your goals and understand what they're investing in and why. If they tell
Mm-hmm.
you to buy that stock, ask them why, that mutual fund. Why? If they tell you to buy more bonds than stocks, why? Always why? If they're
Right.
telling you to buy a some kind of life insurance or disability insurance, why?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Really educate yourself. Don't just blindly give people your money. And that's the same thing for accountants. Do your homework. Do your homework.
Mm-hmm.
It's your money.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, it's so true. It's so true. Man, this was so good. So it's time for us to start wrapping up. I'm so
Oh,
full because I know, right? It's so good. But I want to stick with the time. But I'm gonna keep having conversations with you. I'm like, listen, I need to keep I am going to reach out. I told myself,
oh,
Claudia, come on, do it, girl. Like you have to, because like you said, like being shy, being intimidated, it's not, it only holds us back, And so I'm so grateful that I have someone like you in my life. And before we end, we're definitely going to talk about how people can connect with you, because you talk about courses and things like that. So everyone, don't think like, Dr. Claudia gonna be the one, like, don't be hogging Dr. Caroline. I'm not. We're gonna tell you how you can access her too. But before we end, I want to ask our last 3 questions. So we're gonna cap this off with our final last 3 rich
ooh,
questions.
I'm on a hot seat. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So the first one is, what is one book, podcast, or individual you have found helpful to your personal development on this journey?
That's a hard question. Just one?
You can give more than one if you want.
There's a book by John Maxwell. He's a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
The 15 invaluable laws of growth. The 15 invaluable laws of growth by John Maxwell. It's a very good one because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when we think about goals, achieving goals, we don't realize that we have to change. So who I am now talking to you is not the person who was struggling, trying to figure out how to pay $250,000 in student loans in 4 years. No, it's not the same person at all. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to grow. The
Yeah.
15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
And also I'm gonna add Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. And a lot of us, we say we want to do stuff, we want to invest, we want to do this, but we procrastinate. And
Mm-hmm.
that book is huge on procrastination, how to really prioritize, what to prioritize. It's good. Eat That Frog. I know it's a weird name, but it's called Eat
Yeah.
That Frog by Brian Tracy.
Nice. Okay. Thank you for that. Um, what is one thing that you think we current and future Black docs especially need to consider if we are hesitating to invest more towards our financial freedom? So we've been kind of talking about this the whole episode.
Hesitating.
Yeah, I
What are
know.
they hesitating about? They don't have a choice.
Mm,
So I know a lot of us, we like to say, I'm my ancestors' wildest dream.
mm-hmm.
And I think for us to keep saying that, we need to realize that we have a long way to go still because we are behind financially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, read the book Eat That Frog, because we don't have a lot of time. We don't have time to procrastinate or hesitate. We have
Yeah.
to just do it. Like Nike said, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so real and so true. I talked about that on one of my earlier podcasts about how, you know, we have time, but then we don't have time. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, don't rush, like you said, don't just rush and try to like haphazardly start doing things because you're just, you know, working in this panic mode because you think you don't have time, but also don't just lag and procrastinate thinking you have all the time in the world. You know, like we really have to get a proper understanding of time and how we can use it strategically
Yes. Yes.
sooner than later. So, yes, awesome. Okay, and the last thing, finish this statement. When it comes to financial freedom, it is not just about the money, it is about blank.
It's about financial literacy,
Mm,
financial peace, and legacy.
mm, I love that. Just let that sink in. I love that. That is, yeah, so good. So, so good. So, this was so good, as I mentioned. Like, we'll probably, I always tell all my guests, I'm probably going to bring you back on again some point in the
I would
future.
love
The conversations are always so enriching, so empowering, and everyone is on a journey. And I'm so excited to kind of just see how it continues to go. Like we're all at different stages. You have already accomplished so much, and I can't wait to see where you go even further beyond. And so I'm so glad we had this conversation today, and I know the listeners were blessed. And I know listeners and viewers, because in case some people don't know, you can watch this on YouTube too. But some people are probably like, how do I connect with Dr. Kyle? So please tell us, how do we connect with you? If someone wants to learn more from you, work with you, how do they do so?
You can find me on Instagram or Facebook at Doctors Out of Debt. One word, Doctors Out of Debt. Or visit me at doctorsoutofdebt.com. Send me a message, follow me on Instagram or Facebook, and I'm sure you're going to be inspired to really want to be able to change your finances, elevate your finances,
Mm-hmm.
and really go after the wealth, create the wealth,
Mm-hmm.
and get out of debt at the same time. At the same
Yes.
time.
Yes, yes. No, beautiful, powerful. I love this. I love your enthusiasm, your energy, and the fact that you are now sharing with others and empowering them, equipping them to do the same. And I'm just so, so grateful for you, Dr. Caroline. And I'm sure that this is not our last time connecting, working together, anything. Like this is truly, you know, I'm having hope, I'm having faith, you know, and trusting in God, and just like, Lord, you know, my goals, my passions, and you know, it's not easy. Things have been coming up unexpected, and it's life, it's a part of life. And it doesn't mean it's impossible. You know, we just have to figure out how to keep making it work. And so you have just given me so much more encouragement and hope, and I just love that. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode.
Thank you so much for having me. Really, I enjoyed myself. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And so for everyone else who is still here, I'm so glad you all joined us for this episode, whether you were listening or watching this. I'm sure it was a blessing to you. It was truly a blessing to me. And I know that there's at least one thing you can leave this episode ready to begin doing, ready to begin applying to help you continue or begin your journey of intentionally and strategically pursuing financial freedom, because that is what Rich Black Doc is all about. Like us achieving that financial freedom in the most strategic way as possible, and realizing that the sooner that we begin intentionally doing so, the better. We're not too young. We're not too old. We are not lacking enough people and partners. Like, we can begin. And this episode, I loved it because Dr. Caroline was talking about how she started right after dental school with no partner. It was just her and her debt. And I know many of us have like double the amount of debt Dr. Caroline had, but guess what? We have double the opportunities that Dr. Caroline had. Like, so much has changed since then. There's so much more information and knowledge out there, so much more people. Like, just looking at this podcast as a whole, like all the people you could connect with, to learn more from, to work with, like, you guys, it really is just a matter of us making a decision to say, look, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to keep doing this in spite of the challenges. And trust me when I say, I know that the struggle can be real. And I know that sometimes our personal life challenges may make it seem overwhelming or difficult to try to take on a whole nother new journey and task, especially finances. Not a lot of people get excited about it. Like, we're excited to like earn the money and use it, but trying to invest it and all that can get overwhelming. But trust me when I say it's one of the best things that you can do for yourself and for your future. Like, for your future, truly, because we don't know what it holds. And God forbid it holds the worst case scenario. Having that money and time freedom can make the world of a difference. What would have been on level 10 of bad can be made to be on just level 5 or 4, or matter of fact, not bad at all. Why? Because you took those necessary steps to strategically set yourself up to have that financial freedom to make it through those challenges. So I hope you found this to be encouraging. Thank you so much once again for joining. If you haven't already followed or subscribed, do so. Don't hesitate to reach out, send your feedback, and share this with anyone else you know this will be a blessing to, so that we can truly continue to make this impact of not just changing lives, but changing legacies with our careers, our wealth, and our passions, and truly continue to close those gaps that exist in wealth and in the health realm, because we can do it. And I'm so excited to see us make this a possibility, or make this a reality, I should say. So see you all again on the next episode. And until then, take good care.